Welcome, I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision studios in the UK, you're watching the BV-TV network with guest Dr. Richard London. Uncertainty still abounds in 2021, and again, sadly, too many are letting uncertainty rule. Our BizVision theme for this first quarter of the year is the word Awaken. That may be awaken to new opportunity, perhaps starting your own business when you're 50 plus, what we call a silverpreneur. My guest today can certainly help you achieve that. He's inspired thousands of businesses, especially in the key areas that create success. So let's go get some inspiration and some real awakening, and we'll have a chat with Dr. Richard London. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Malcolm. My pleasure. I want to congratulate you for your successful show and your passion and love that you give your listeners. That's actually, passion is one of the successful ingredients in being a successful business person in the world today. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. And just to tell viewers and listeners that you're sitting on top of a mountain in Mexico at this moment.
Yes, I'm sitting on top. It's a much safer at this particular time in the world to be in a country such as Mexico because the regulations are not as stringent. You have more freedom, and I control time. And in a lot of the things that I'll be teaching the listeners today, I will help them control their time. Time is really the essence of success in the world.
Yeah.
More time you have, the
Excellent.
more
Yeah.
wealth
Gotcha.
you can create. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, totally with you. Richard, I'm delighted you're kindly guesting on our new and extra BV-TV channel, Silverpreneur, as well as across our other channels. Now, in this BV-TV talk show, I'll be chatting to Richard in 3 parts about business: thinking, getting started, growing. First part, I'll chat to him about his thoughts on starting out with a new business venture, especially with realizing your future and applying intention. Then in part 2, we'll move to that brave step of launching it and getting it going, which requires confidence and ability to be resilient, agile, and adaptable. And in part 3, we'll talk about how to grow it and scale it to true success whilst ensuring you achieve the right balance of work and happiness. Richard, before we get into our 3-part chat, can you briefly please introduce yourself to my viewers and listeners? Who is Dr. Richard London? What's your story? And what makes Richard jump out of bed in the morning?
Well, what makes me jump out of bed every morning is my willingness to transform lives, my passion. I retired many, many, many years ago. And I came out of retirement because humans need the solutions that move them forward in 2021. So I've been doing this for over 40 years. I'm the leading manifestation coach, mentor in the world. I mentor most of the leaders in the world. I'm their secret coach, mentor. I'm like Henry Kissinger.
Right.
I'm the go-to person when someone needs solutions. And the reason that I'm good at what I do is because of my passion. It's also due to lots of action. It also due to my ability to see into the future and see what humans need in order to move forward, no matter the situation. So I created a lot of new business programs. They're pandemic-free programs. And I'll be teaching your listeners, I'm going to give your listeners a business model that will work. And it's very simple. Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. It sounds very, very exciting. And we had a nice chat before we started recording this show, I've got to tell you, viewers and listeners, and I was totally inspired listening to Richard. So you're going to be doubly inspired. Richard, let's kick off our chat in part 1 about a silverpreneur. That's someone aged 50 plus in our book, thinking of a business, perhaps because they have to, sadly through redundancy, or just because it's time, or perhaps they have an existing business and they need to grow it. it's a very challenging time for that age group with ageism and other sort of challenges around there. What should they be thinking about in regards to the concept of their business?
Okay,
After all,
first,
at that age, it's a brave move, isn't it?
yes. Well, many people have made brave moves at the ages of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, even 100 years old. Age really is meaningless. So the first thing is that 90% of all businesses in the world are going to be online, home-based businesses. 10% are going to be bricks and mortar. So that allows you to create a business in the comfort of your home. So that gives you security because you can operate from your home. And then I created a model that's really ageless. And that model is everybody has a form of wisdom. So it's using this inner wisdom, this inner love, this inner passion that you have to create an idea. So I'll give your listeners an easy way to understand it. So if I was advising you, Malcolm, you could create a program, Time with Malcolm, and say Malcolm is an artist and loves art. So people could spend time with Malcolm every week doing a Zoom event. People pay $20. So as an example, to begin with, if you had 100 people, that's $2,000 a week for approximately an hour or 2 hours at a time. And I call it the universe. The universe is allowing this concept to unfold in people's lives because they're giving the listeners, just like you are in BizVision, you're giving them a piece of you. And people really buy the wisdom of other people. And so no matter what your past experience is, say you're in construction, Time with Bill, who has experience in construction, teaching how people can fix various things in their home easily. And they're getting great value, great wisdom, tens of years. If someone is 50 years old, they have at least 30 years of experience, 60, maybe 40 years experience. So for a person to spend $20 for great wisdom, everyone's willing to do that. And you do this on a weekly basis. So basically, you decide what you're most passionate about. And you start with an idea. Then you put together a simple plan. And that's what people don't understand. In life, you have to have a plan. Instead of guessing what's going to happen in the future, when you have a plan, you stay in a different energy, and it's called the energy of knowing. So you decide on a particular idea, just like a painting, and you start creating the idea and expanding the thoughts of that idea, just like your show. It was an idea or a thought in your mind, and then you expanded it, and then you made it real. But the model that I've created it's real simple, because everyone can operate Zoom. Everyone has past experience.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a lot of time. So I've worked this model for over 40 years. I have clients who make as little as $2,000 a week, and some clients who make $100,000 a week.
Wow.
Talking to the people in the world about their passions. And really, do you know all the biggest companies in the world? They're trying to sell one thing in the world today, in this pandemic world. You know what that is?
Go on.
Love. You're doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. Amazon is doing the same thing, because this is what humans need. They need love, but love takes on different forms. Wisdom is a form of love.
That's really interesting. Wisdom is a form of love. I like that.
Yes.
I just want to jump in a little bit here, Richard, because
Sure.
I've suggested this to many people beforehand. And yes, they've been, one guy said to me, well, I've been working for British Telecom, the telecom company, for 30 years. I don't have any experience in starting a business. And I said, you do have that experience. It's this realization, though, isn't it, that they've got this wisdom, that they've got this experience.
Well, sure, because you have to look at all facets of the human being. Lots of people have hobbies. So say a person loves sports. Mm-hmm. They have a sports-related show where they share unique insights to the sports world. Yes. Again, I'm going to teach our listeners, and perhaps yourself, there's a big secret in the world. Everything is really about mathematics. Yes. Yeah. Your life, my life, success, it's about mathematics. The numbers have to add up. Every word has a mathematical equivalent. And so, in being successful in the world at any age, is you can take your hobbies and mathematically make it so the numbers add up, and you create the business that's going to move you forward in your life. Because no matter what background, okay, let's take, I'm going to make your listeners laugh. Let's take a person's a funeral director, right. Okay? And he retires early, or he's ill, or whatever it might be. And he says, what do I have to offer? I've been a funeral director dealing with dead bodies all my life. He can teach people how to plan better for that event in the future. Mm-hmm. And it's of great value. Imagine paying $20 a week to listen to a person who has great wisdom and helps you plan your transition in life. Yes.
Brilliant. So, before we move on to part two, Richard, I must tell you a little thing. When I was presenting an event once, I gave people 20, 30 seconds to stand up and do a 30-second sell of themselves. And this funeral director was there, and he says, we put the fun back into funerals. And everybody got his attention. Yeah. And he says, and I'll be the last person to let you down. Okay. All right.
So here's an interesting thing is I looked at the funeral industry many years ago, and I didn't like everything that was going on. So I created a new way of burial. It's called the Fountain of Love. So instead of you go into a room, the family plans the music and the lights and the sounds. Everybody is together, and you make the experience beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so in the world that we live in today, you have to recreate what exists. There are so many ways to make this world better. Yes. So you have to think out of the box.
Yeah. And the world is wanting to be made better at the moment, isn't it? Not just the planet, but everybody. Richard, just before we move to part two, I'd like to remind viewers and listeners of your website URL, which is Dr. Richard London. Let me spell that out for you, for listeners, because viewers, obviously, you can see it on the screen behind. It's DR for Doctor, drrichandlondon.com. drrichandlondon.com. Richard, it's time for part two. We've got our idea for a business. We've got that wisdom, that love we've been talking about. We've thought it through and we've considered carefully the pros and cons. It's time now to have confidence and launch it. Let's stick with our silverpreneur and his or her thinking. What should they be doing to get it going and keep momentum?
Okay, I've come up with a number of different systems and steps. The first step is be wealth in every area of your life. So in being wealth, it creates wealth. Being poverty creates poverty. Because listeners out there, your life, Malcolm's life, everyone's life is about what goes in this mouth and comes out of the mouth. So if you're going to speak, use positive words. I'll give you an example. You are infinite worth. You are infinite worth. If you say that word to yourself, that will move you forward and give you the energy and the vibration to create a successful business in your life. Also, number 2, don't allow wealth to be a need, only a desire. I remember seeing a license plate and it says, the one who has the most toys wins. The real answer in life is the one who needs the least wins the game of life. So as you move in life, when you need the least, like I don't need money, I don't need wealth, I don't need love, I don't need any of those things. Guess what happens? I receive everything in great abundance. So don't be needy. Yes. 3, great faith. Yes. I created a program called Automating Your Life. I was sitting in my living room and I like technology. I can press buttons and do everything. And I said, wow, wouldn't it be neat if people can automate their life? Imagine automating your life where everything works perfectly, like a motor that has been finely tuned with a turbocharger. So all of a sudden, I received how to do it, and I created this program, Automate a Life. Yes. So you want to be able to automate your life so everything, all the gears work correctly. Yeah, all the steps work correctly. 4, absolute clarity. Yes. And don't confuse yourself. Don't confuse God. Yes. You know, millions of people sit in churches all over the world praying for money. Do you know why they don't receive money? The same reason why people struggle in business. God doesn't hear them.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason God doesn't hear you is because you're not clear. You've confused yourself. Stay out of confusion. Yeah. Make a decision and stick to the decision.
Yeah. That last one there, making that decision and sticking to it, that's so important. We've been going through turmoil in the UK because the government keeps making decisions and changing and changing and changing.
So there are only 2 energies that exist on Earth. There's no, which is negative energy, and there's the word yes, I know. So in business, the more you go, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know. Say it 9 times. It shifts the energy and makes your business much more successful because it's a very positive word. You know what the most powerful word in the world is?
Oh.
Wellness.
Wellness.
Yeah. It didn't even exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
People talked about health, but wellness has a very high vibration. And so people you want financial wellness, you want mental wellness, you want spiritual wellness, you want emotional wellness. Okay.
I like that.
Okay. Another ingredient in being successful, integrity.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Transparency in other words as well within it. Yeah.
Yeah. Authentic. You have to be. I get to say anything I want to any person in the world, and I never come from a place of wanting to hurt someone. I just want to be brutally honest.
Yes.
So authenticity, transparency, and integrity. And integrity means if you go in a store and a person gives you a penny that doesn't belong to you, if you have to walk 5 miles back to the store, you walk those 5 miles. So there's certain rules in living in life, and we're not taught these rules in school, and we're not taught these rules by our parents only because our parents just don't know. Yes.
Wellness.
Nicely enough, I know.
Brilliant.
Number 7, allow yourself, the universe, God, everything around you to create abundance in your life. You have to allow it. So I'm going to give your listeners an exercise. Okay. You put your hands up in there and you go, wealth comes from every direction of the universe. Wealth comes from every direction of the universe. Wealth comes from every direction of the universe. You say it 9 times, and you're actually bringing in wealth and abundance because that's where it lives. Abundance.
And I suppose you're getting rid of negativity at the same time. Is that correct?
Yes, you get rid of negativity at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's why the word yes, I know has been programmed to create positive things in your life. So say one of your listeners is depressed. Depression is probably one of the greatest illnesses in the world today. But if you go, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know. Say yes, I know 3 times for me.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know.
How can you be depressed when you're saying yes, I know?
Yeah.
You can't be.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Kicks you right out of depression. Yes. So these things work. Yeah. They've worked in my life. They've worked in tens of thousands of lives. I've been over 30,000 radio and television programs in my life. And I share this wisdom with people. And I was telling Malcolm a story, and I'm going to tell you listeners the same story because it's an important one, just real quickly, about you need to be a farmer. You need to plant seeds. Businesses in today's world is about planting seeds that germinate into healthy products, services, businesses. Yeah. When I was 13 years old, everything I touched, I was an agriculture cat. Everything I touched grew. Yes. I was selected to be future farmer of America. I'm sitting there with farmers, young farmers, agriculture kids from all over the world. And I said, I don't want to be a farmer. That's boring. And I'm the greatest farmer in the world because all the seeds that I plant, like I'm planting seeds right now, they germinate. Yes.
Yeah.
So you want your seeds to germinate in business. Yes. Your ideas are seeds. And so the plants can get bigger and bigger and bigger. Have you ever seen a watermelon as big as a car, Malcolm?
Yeah. Well, I've seen pictures. I haven't actually seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the seeds that are used genetically have the capability of expanding and growing. And humans can do the same thing based on your passion, your willingness to really, really dedicate. I'm dedicated to transforming humans' lives. You're dedicated. So take that same dedication. Yeah, it will work. Positively, 100% it will.
Yeah.
Work.
And I think you're so right, Richard. I was just thinking there that with the pandemic and all the other little problems been going around, not enough businesses have been planting those seeds, have they? They've just been
No,
living off what was planted beforehand.
right. And the thing is, you have to think pandemic free.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah. Well, we're getting that
So,
way with the vaccinations. Thanks, Richard. Now, for that all-important part 3, keeping it going, reaching growth and profitability, but at the same time, managing that balance of work and happiness, as you were calling it, wellness, as we grow older. What's your thoughts and guidance in this area?
yeah, first of all, the key to being successful in business, especially in this 2021 year of chaos and transformation, big change, great routine. You have to create a great routine. I get up between 3 and 4 o'clock every morning. Prior to going to sleep, I have a plan of what I'm going to do. So many people in the world, they believe, when I was a little boy, I was told 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes an hour. And I go, why? So as soon as you believe that there's a restriction, 24 hours in a day, then your mind and your body and everything that exists in you works within that framework. So you have to look outside of the framework. So I live in a world of unlimited time. So in a day, I do probably as much work as a person does in a month. In some aspects, a whole year's work in one day. Imagine.
Wow.
So you have to allow yourself to not think about the negative aspects of the world, but the positive aspects of your existence. Being in gratitude for your wife,
Mm-hmm.
for your children, for your animals. I have hundreds of animals, and I saw you have a sheep dolly. I saw in you like animals. Is that correct, Malcolm?
Yes, yes. Well, Harvey, my dog, is sitting downstairs waiting for a nice walk after you and I finished this meeting.
Ah, okay. So I have hundreds of animals. So for your listeners out there who don't have animals, if you're 50, 60, 70 years old and living alone, get yourself an animal.
Mm.
Because if you care for something more than yourself, that's going to help move you forward in your life and you'll live longer. Yes, it'll give you something to live for. So, listeners out there, in order to be really successful and keep on expanding your business, is you got to get up early in the morning. You have to create a great routine. If you take your vitamins every day. If you eat well every day. Except I like ice cream, cookies.
All right.
So I eat really well. And here's another thing. Don't think so much. I don't think anybody ever teaches people this. I remember being in school and my teacher used to say, you need to think, you need to think, you need to think. The real secret in the creation process of being successful and creating wealth and love and wellness, everything you want in your life is not thinking so much. You know why? If you filling your head with all those thoughts, then how are you going to receive the solutions and this great wisdom? Yeah, it's called mind chatter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had mind chatter in your life when you were younger?
Yes, yes. Yeah. I think
Yes.
mine was when my mother died when I was 4.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. So there's an expression, shit just happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how you deal with that information.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
I don't think about anything except candy and ice cream.
Right. Okay.
So it allows me to receive all this great wisdom. So what I'm telling your listeners, allow yourself to move out of mind chatter so you can receive the information and stay in the proper information so you continually move forward in your life. Because if your mind is free of mind chatter and garbage, you're going to receive the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what do you think about morning affirmations? Waking the day and having an affirmation time.
Well, I have literally hundreds and hundreds of affirmations. Yes. And sayings. So I've jotted a few down. So, you are important always. Be the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are amazing. The younger people in the world know this expression. You are Gucci. It means you're good, you're cool. Here's another one. Be your best friend. Yes.
Yeah.
These kind of affirmations, Shane, you are important always. Be the best version of yourself. You are amazing. You are Gucci, good, cool. That's a term that young people use. Be your best friend.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Gucci. I'm ready. I'm ready,
Yeah.
Richard. Yeah.
Yeah, you're Gucci. That means you're cool.
I'm
Yes.
Gucci. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I sadly I've got to be finishing my glass of tequila and leaving Mexico now. I've said this many times. Starting a business can be both exciting and daunting, and the latter is why so many people talk about it but never do it. I trust my guest today, Dr. Richard London, has stimulated you, shown you direction, and given you the right confidence. Many thanks, Richard, for a great interview.
Thanks. I appreciate you. I appreciate your listeners. And if anyone wants to reach me, I don't live in a glass house. Just send me an email. I have another number of Zoom events planned for this year, Creating Wisdom Fast, The Real Divine Truth. This year, 2021, has to be about you living in real truth, real solutions, not other people's opinions or judgments or assumptions. Yes, that's another thing for your listeners. In 2020, no opinions, no judgments, no assumptions. Just live in real divine truth. That will make you very successful.